Here's Brody Brazil.
So as I literally get back into the swing of things with golf, I'm starting to pay a lot more attention to bigger golf headlines and stories and topics and maybe some controversies. But yeah, I am getting back into golf. My swing is very much a work in progress. I've been watching a lot of swing videos, but then again, I come across stories like the point of this video, which were the LIV Golf villas that they debuted in their tournament in Mexico City this past weekend. And really the bigger picture beyond that is how maybe the PGA could actually learn a few things from LIV Golf and take them away from LIV Golf over time. No, not like steal them, but also take the idea and run with it. Let LIV Golf do the experimentation. More on that in just a second. I know I'm repeating a lot of this for those of you who are hardcore into golf, but just in case you're not, let me give you the background on LIV Golf. It's a separate tour from the PGA. They just started back in 2022. Here in 2025, it's their fourth season of existence. They do the shorter format events. Instead of 72 holes across a weekend like the PGA, they only do 54. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, LIV, that's Roman numerals for 54. You're exactly right. That is intentional. In LIV Golf, they focus more on the team competition, and then they break out and have individual events that you can win and gain a lot of money from and all that stuff. That's the complete inverse from the PGA, which is a bunch of individual tournaments and competitions. And then there are team events like the Ryder Cup and so on and so on. So it's a new taste and twist on golf. And I also totally understand why some people don't like how LIV Golf came to be, how they challenged the PGA, who is funding LIV Golf, the kind of the controversy of if you go to LIV Golf and that means you're never coming back to the PGA. There's a lot of different dynamics going on here. That's for a separate video, but just understand this is competition to the PGA, which has existed for a very long time. LIV Golf, in terms of media and their television partners here in the United States, they work with two networks, the CW and Fox, and their ratings are about a third of what PGA events are. Sometimes it's a little bit better than that. Most times, quite honestly, it seems a little bit worse than 1/3 of what the PGA ratings are. So they're not anywhere near in the same competition or conversation in terms of what the PGA has grown to be. They're emerging. They probably are stealing some share of the market in terms of golf viewers or giving other people a different option to watch, but they're not exactly directly competing head-to-head with the PGA yet. LIV Golf also lost, they say, about $400 million last year. Now, they got tons of money behind this, and they had to know when they were getting into this, it was probably going to lose a lot more money before it gains any money, but you can't do that every single year. Like over time, over decades, that's not going to fly. Here in the fourth year of existence, okay, but they're probably looking to turn that around sooner than later. But I want to talk about some of the things that I actually think they do okay. How about just the presentation of golf on television? Now, this looks a lot different than if you were watching, I don't know, the Masters from a couple weekends ago. The amount of information on the screen, the colors, the fonts, all the metrics, everything that you'd want to see tracking the golf ball there off the tee shot and what the hole looks like and the scoring average. And then on the left, you've obviously got the leaderboard, which exists full time, but you've also got the team standings in terms of that weekend's tournament there on the left. So I'll be honest, I kind of like it. And for some who are traditionalists, they'll say that's too much, it's too crazy, that's not what I watch golf for. But I understand that it goes with a younger audience. It goes with a different audience. They have to try something different here, right? They are experimenting where PGA tournament events maybe wouldn't do this with all of their different broadcasts. And the networks of NBC or CBS, they wouldn't do all of this in their golf coverage, but that's great. Let somebody else do this. Let somebody else try this, see how it goes. Look at the TrackMan metrics here of the ball speed and the carry. It just, like, there is a lot going on. And yeah, PGA televised events, they do some of this, but they just don't put it all together in the same packaging. It just doesn't have this polish, this futuristic, consistent look. And I'm talking about even things down to the fonts and the stats and the very small details here beyond just the camera angles of this golf tournament. So again, my point is, right, like, and this is before we get to the conversation of the villas, if you're the PGA, just watch what these guys are doing and take some of it away. And then there were these new team villas. This is a concept that they debuted in the Mexico City tournament over this past weekend. A tweet here from Josh Carpenter, who covers golf. The total space is more than 11,000 square feet and includes private, branded spaces for each team. Each team space is 600 square feet and can be used for families and friends, potential partners, etc. How about social media? How about interviews? How about whining and dining and all the handshakes and all the networking that would happen at a tournament event like this for your team and for individual people and players and companies? Like, this is kind of like an F1 thing or a NASCAR thing. This reminds me of where the garages are. Well, maybe not exactly, but a different spin on that. Spin, like tires, like, never mind, golf, spin, whatever. You understand my point here. This may not be a bad idea for the PGA to do for its players. Now, can you do it for all the players? Like, teams is easier. There's only a select amount of teams versus however many players are in each golf tournament. So you'd have to figure that part out. But what's wrong with doing something like this? Yes, it's costly. Yes, it is kind of an amenity that is not necessary, you'd have to think. But there is some value to this here in 2025, even for stuff like social media. You want to come back here and do all your social media? Great. Play around, do your podcast right there, right afterwards. Make it look nice, put the LIV Golf logo all around. Again, these are things that the PGA should be looking at to say, all right, we don't do this, but we'll watch and see how you do it. Now, let's see how this goes. They did it in Mexico City. Let's see how many more stops LIV Golf does this on. That brings me to my takeaways. Number one, LIV Golf kind of feels like the XFL equivalent of pro golf tours. We're going football here for a second. The XFL, right, was started by WWE. Does it even still exist? It came back, but then did it go away again? I feel bad for not even knowing this. But see, that's kind of how, and I'm not going to say irrelevant, but it's just not on the same, it's not on the same spectrum of everything else going on at a very high level in professional sports. But the XFL, like, it was great. It is or was great because it serves a purpose. It let the NFL see things that they didn't have to go out and do the busy work of trying. They let the XFL go try out these things, like golf villas, or in the XFL, they had the kickoff where both teams were stationary until somebody caught the ball. Maybe it keeps your football players out of harm's way, even healthier. So if you're the PGA, don't get mad at LIV Golf. Yeah, they're stealing some viewers and they're trying to cut into your business. They're trying to steal your players and compete, of course. But it's not necessarily like fully working. We can see that now after 4 years. So let them go do what they want to do. Let them, the more they experiment, the better. And if you're the PGA, just let them experiment over and over. Let them try these things and see if you can implement some of them. Don't also be afraid at some point, if something is working for LIV Golf, you cannot be afraid to say, well, that's their thing and we kind of can't steal it. You have to impart it. It's what Apple does, right? They let everybody else make the phone first. They let BlackBerry do the ones with the buttons on it, but a smartphone that had some features and apps. And then Apple says, all right, we let everybody else do this. Motorola did it. Nokia did it. And now it's our turn to do it the right way. You don't have to be first to the party. You just have to do it the best. And that's the position that the PGA is now in. They just have to make sure that they actually don't fool themselves and say that they can't do this stuff. Take what works and implement it. And in terms of LIV Golf, I mentioned that $400 million that they said they lost last year. They probably, based on who supports them and how that goes, they can probably survive for a while. They can lose money like this for a while, but not forever. I don't think anybody wants that to be the goal of losing money forever, unless it's a write-off, unless there's never-ending money, which also might be the case. I don't think it's going to last forever. So again, if you're the PGA, watch and learn while you can, because who knows where LIV Golf is actually headed. All right, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And since you made it this far, give me a golf tip down below. Give me a swing tip. I really actually need those right now. I'll actually pay attention to that. Thumbs up down there if you could. That'll help me, this video, and this channel. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you back here next time.